everyone. Welcome to Connecting the Dots.
Hi.
My name is Monica Farias, and I'm here with my co-host,
Katrina. Hi, everyone.
and we want to really welcome our guest today.
Yes.
Monique Manzanares she's the CEO
Yes.
of the Pomona Chamber of Commerce. So we're really glad that you agreed to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for inviting me. Excited.
Yeah, awesome. But
I'm excited to be with ladies.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's so awesome. But let's get the elephant in the room out. Like, we were supposed to have costumes, so what happened?
Yeah,
That memo.
I know.
I would've
Unfortunately.
like a businesswoman or something.
Yeah, unfortunately that didn't happen, but you know what, something to look forward to, perhaps, another time or whatever, but it would have been funny to kind of see you
like
match.
an ugly sweater,
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
we could do that.
Or
Yeah.
like a turkey during
Yeah.
Or a turkey.
Cute,
Yeah.
but
So she was supposed to be a vampire girl?
No, I was what was I?
Dracula.
Dracula.
Yeah, she was supposed to bite me.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen.
It didn't happen, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. It's okay.
Yeah.
At least we came as ourselves, so we're good.
Right? Yeah, but happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes,
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. So we're going to do, before we, introduce or ask you questions, we're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker.
Okay.
So every time we have a segment, we want to do what is called a Truth Bomb Tuesday.
Oh.
So it's something that's motivational. Maybe like Monica saw a $10 bill one day and she gave it to somebody.
I wish I would have seen
or
a $10
kept it
bill.
or something.
I have found $1.
Money?
Yeah,
Who carries money on them?
Yeah.
But it's actually like something that, per conversation, it's kind of tied into that. So I'm going to start off with the Truth Bomb
let's start with
Tuesday.
you.
So there is this show on Netflix. It's a trending show. I think you guys know where I'm going with that. Squid Games. Have you watched that show?
Well, I've fallen asleep to it.
I don't even know what it is.
I try so hard.
I still don't know what that is.
But I have to read it. Like, I like to
Yes.
watch movies. Well, actually, no.
Read it
The first episode, I was reading, and my son's like, "Mom, why are you doing that? You could just put it in English." I was like, "Oh, my bad."
I don't even know what it is. I
So
think they
it's-
tried to explain that to me
So
earlier.
it's
but
basically a show based in Korea, and it's crazy because like people that have debt or they owe money, so they actually like sign their lives away to play this game. And so I wasn't supposed to. I refused to watch it, but one day I like came home, and then Andy was watching it. Andy is my significant other,
Okay.
and I got tied into watching it. And I don't want to talk about like the obvious because everyone has watched it, but this is like the trend.
I haven't, so I don't know
You
why you said
should watch it. Do you
everyone,
have
'cause I
Netflix?
haven't. Yeah.
So you should watch it. It's pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah,
It's-
it is. But also make sure that you do the translation in English. Otherwise, you'll be reading and you'll get frustrated.
So you have to like translate it. But it's like the number one show on Netflix right now. It's like trending in 90 countries and counting. It's crazy. But I want to talk about the creator of it. So actually the creator, I'm not going to say his name because I'm going to sabotage it, but he wrote it in 2009.
Right.
So
Years
it did
ago.
it years ago. So
Interesting.
he wrote it as a script in 2008, made it like as a show in 2009. No network wanted it. So it was to a point where he was broke. He actually had to, or I think sold his laptop for $645.
So where is he from?
Korea.
Oh, Korea.
He's Korean.
Yeah.
So, and then, 12, 13 years later, here it is. It's a trending show, like 90 countries. Like, he didn't stop. He kept pursuing and kept going. So from 2009, he was like, hey, I'm broke. Now to like season 2, everyone
He's like a
knows
millionaire now.
Yeah, everyone knows his show. Like any country that you go to, everyone knows it. And then like, so knowing the background of it, I was like, a lot of us are not patient enough, right? To like, we want to be like an overnight success. And it happens to me too, because I'm an entrepreneur. You're you're a CEO. You're also like a director. So sometimes we're like, why we're not successful yet?
Right.
So
Why isn't it happening right now?
Yeah, why isn't it happening right now?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, it takes a while for us to shine. Like, you
Right.
gotta be patient.
Right.
Yeah, and it's crazy how I sat down and I'm like, this is, like, reading about his bio, I'm like, this is me. it happens to me, and it happens to a lot of people, because we're like, we see people on like social media, they're like, oh, how come they got famous right off the bat, but we can't, right? So it's something that was like really motivational to me, and I think a lot of people, what happens is fear comes into play. When that doesn't happen, we're fearful of failing, we're fearful of like people saying like, oh, you're not going to be successful, what's going to happen. But I want to drop this is a truth bomb, and this is my mantra every single day. Fear is temporary, regret is forever.
There you go.
So always remember that. So
There
that's
you
the
go.
truth
Very
bomb
true.
Tuesday for today, everyone. And watch Squid Game.
Yeah, you just have to be.
Monica,
You just have to be
you have to.
patient. You just
Yes,
have to be
yes.
patient.
Don't be fearful.
You know,
too.
sometimes our failures is what is what teaches us lessons, because we're like a little seed, and the more
Yeah.
you water it, the more mistakes you make
Yeah.
can lead to bigger things, and you just don't give up.
It
So-
actually teaches us, or we either learn from it or we don't at all, and we're
Yes.
stuck.
Yes.
And a lot of people, like, that's when depression kicks in.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
when people start to analyze and look at their lives, and they're saying, you know what, I'm over this, I'm done, I can't do it, and then they just stop. The
Yeah.
motivation, the drive is gone.
Gone.
And,
Yeah.
and,
And isn't
yeah.
it crazy, like, how I think about it, and I'm like, I'd rather tell my success stories when, like, I've tripped, I've fallen, I rolled over, and then I stood up, and, like,
Yeah.
I became successful,
Like, you
rather than
just
just, like,
brush it off and be like, okay, now
Right?
what?
Well, it's not that easy to just brush it off, because I take failure really hard. I'm really
Oh,
hard
yeah,
on
no,
myself,
not
but
me.
at the same time, I think when I speak of how this whole thing got started with the Greater West Covina,
Yeah.
it's to some people it's motivational. They think a lot of people think that you got here just like that, like all of a sudden you
Overnight,
just
you
became
woke up and
and
you
you
were
were
your
don't know
own.
the
yeah,
backstory.
and that is for sure that is not true. We all have a story, and I think our stories motivate people to like not give
Absolutely.
up, especially right now with everything that has happened with COVID.
Yes.
I remember when I first inquired about you, I wanted to speak to other CEOs, other executive
Right.
directors
Mm-hmm.
that were just to kind of hear, what they were going through, because at some point I felt like I was alone, facing like so many like fears,
Yeah.
of the current situation. So when I met Monique, I had the opportunity to come to the Pomona Chamber of Commerce, and she was so welcoming. She was so real. She was just like, oh my God, I just went through that myself. So,
Yeah.
do you remember that?
Absolutely. I remember because we were supposed to meet a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I know that through a mutual friend. We were supposed to meet because I heard a lot about you. You heard a lot about me. And I was like, her name kind of sounds familiar. And I was actually going through my email threads, and you were on there.
Oh,
And I
okay.
was just like, okay, so somewhere along the lines we did meet, or we ran into one another.
Yeah.
But as luck may have it, we were reacquainted by
Yeah.
a mutual friend. And I remember you coming in, and you're like, I can't believe, like, here you are, here I am, and we haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
We're
That's
barely waiting until
crazy.
now.
I had just seen her
Yeah.
online because we were in a conference, and I seen her. She was one of the speakers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to meet this lady.
She's so cute.
I just thought, because some people, let me see, how can I tell you? There's a lot of CEOs who
Yeah.
are not welcoming.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
feel like they have to still be like, just be in their position, be CEOs,
Yeah.
and just like hide behind the title.
Yeah.
And I've never been that way. To me,
Yeah.
titles are just
I'm the
titles.
same way. I am the same way.
Yeah, you have to be real with
Cute,
people.
yeah.
And I think I was the same with you.
Yeah,
I was
she
very
was very
welcoming.
welcoming.
I didn't really portray. I
Yeah.
don't tell people, I'm the executive director.
Yeah.
To
You
me,
do
that's
need
just a
titles.
title.
Yeah, I just say I work for the chamber, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, what do you do? I go, well, I support businesses. Oh, like, in what capacity? Like, what what are you? And I was like, well, I'm like the president and CEO.
And then they're like,
I like
oh.
mutter it, and then they're like, you're what? Like, okay, so you're in charge of
So
it?
it's a big deal to them.
And I'm like, I'm not. I mean, there's a team that goes behind it. I have a board of directors. I have other people that support what I do. It's just like you said, it's just a title.
Yeah.
I think it's your energy too. Like
Yeah.
the first time that I've actually met you was the comedy show, JR and the Crew.
Okay, uh-huh.
And I was checking in with like my friends, and then there was like a group that was in front of us, and you just walked out, and you're like, "Hi," You were like, just like, I'm
Because
like,
she's
oh,
definitely
that
confident.
is- yeah, that's
Yeah, her
Monique.
your personality
Yeah,
is
but
amazing.
A lot of people misconstrue that. So people are like, "Oh, you're confident," and they take it as like you're stuck up or you
Oh,
think
yeah.
you're too
Yeah,
good.
for
And
sure.
I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna put myself out there, and if
Yeah.
you like me, you do, and if you don't, you don't. Like you have to deal with
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You know? And that's just how I am.
Exactly, and then on the other end, some people don't give you the benefit of the doubt because they think you're too good because you
Right.
have that
Oh, yeah,
title.
for sure.
And then you
Yeah.
have those who are like, oh my God, I just met the executive director, and they're like, oh my God, they think it's like a big deal when it really isn't. You know, I'm just an ordinary,
Right.
person,
Yeah.
just like
Exactly.
just like you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that easy, just I didn't just walk into the position. It
You
was
earned
something
it.
that definitely
Obviously,
you
yeah.
earned.
I felt the
you
same
know?
way.
Yeah.
It wasn't given to me. Like I stood out above the rest, and that's why I got my position. It wasn't one person that said, "Oh, you know what? No, she needs to be in this position."
okay.
It was the seeds that I planted, right? And it was everything that I put into it. I worked it, I manifested it. And when I came out for the position, because I didn't have a director experience, but I'm sorry, executive director experience. I had director experience in different realms like nonprofit, but I didn't actually have executive director or CEO. But I was just like, you know what? I can do it. Like, why can't I?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was
Exactly.
on the board of directors. I knew the operations. I've been involved with chambers for over 14 years.
Wow.
And so it's like, okay, if so-and-so could do it, which I've looked at other directors and other CEOs, I'm like, I know that I can do it for sure.
Of course.
yes.
It's we all have gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
We all have gifts, and I think if we really, utilize those gifts, it could go a long way.
Yeah,
So I know,
definitely.
me as, once I got divorced and I was a single mom, I knew I had to better myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that's my story.
Yeah.
I had to bring up, my kids on my own. I
Yeah.
had to work. I had to find work almost anywhere and still go to school and, and explore different things. But I was so inspired because I could see, the future that I wanted for my kids.
Yeah.
And so it
Absolutely.
inspired me to want to be better because I wanted them to have a vision of someone who was a go-getter.
Right.
And I think that's great because
You know?
everyone has like this successful people like you and you as well. They have like backstory.
You're also
Yeah.
successful.
Yes, I mean, but, but what is Monique's backstory? Like,
Yeah.
what is?
Yeah,
how
tell us
did
about
Monique
that.
become,
What
CEO?
exactly do you want to know? I mean, do I start from like cradle to almost grave, which I feel like is tomorrow? But I mean, like, okay, so wow. So first of all, I had no aspirations when I was younger, when I was a teenager, on being a professional. That was
Okay.
not even in my vocabulary when I was
Wow.
growing up and when I was a teenager. Growing up, I was a tomboy. I was rough and rugged. Me and my brother are 18 months apart.
Wow.
And so I had his friends that were my friends, and we used to all like play fight and beat up on each other. And it was always like, oh, you did that? Well, I could do it better. Right? And so it was always like, I had to prove myself. And I was hanging around with people that were older than me.
That sibling rivalry.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then it got to the point where like I was pretty tough, I was pretty rough, and then I started to meet my own friends. And then obviously you not obviously, but some people follow the direction of others and maybe not a good path.
Yeah.
And so that's the path
I
that
think
I
that's
started
normal.
to take when I was an adolescent, a teenager. I ended up becoming a teenage mom. I barely graduated high school. I graduated from continuation high school. And so, like, during this time, I was like, I'm just making it. Like, my brother were total opposite. So my brother, he grew up with addiction. He was addicted ever since he was 14. And so my parents really focused on him, trying to get him the help that they thought he needed, chasing him around in the streets.
Yeah.
And so they really didn't stop to think, well, what's Monique doing? Where's she at? Like, how's she? Does
Yeah.
she need anything? You know? And so it was like almost like I was raising myself.
Oh my
And
God,
So, or
I-
the streets kind of raised me,
Crazy.
right?
Yeah.
And so.
So were you tough with all that eyeliner and the
Yeah,
lipstick
I was. Well,
and
duh.
the
Look at my eyebrows.
and the what is it, the lip liner?
Yeah, the dark
I think I was afraid of girls like you.
Okay, yeah, a lot of people were. And rightfully so, because I was actually a fighter, but out of necessity, because that's how I grew up.
That's how you grew up, yeah.
And so, before I used to always say I'm not proud of my past, but you know what, I am.
You should
Yeah,
be.
you
Because my
should.
past molded me and shaped me to the person that I am today.
Of course.
And you in life you just go through things, and
Yeah.
it's not the mistakes you make, but it's how you correct them, right?
Correct.
And so I had no idea back then that I was going to be where I'm at today. But
So
I just
awesome.
knew that, like, whatever came my way, I'm going to get past it. I got pregnant. Okay, I'm going to get past it. You know, my parents were like, if you want to stay in the house, you got to get a job. And I was like, well, okay. They're like, well, you got to go to school too, because I was in continuation. So I graduated from continuation.
But you did
and I
it.
got
I
pregnant
know, that's
right before
my
I graduated.
gosh.
And it's funny because my school counselor, this like 60, 70-year-old lady with white hair, like never says a cuss word, never, like she is totally proper. And I remember like 2 weeks before I graduated, I walked into her office because she kept asking me, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to go to college? And I'm like, why? No, I'm good. Like, I'll probably just get a job. And, you know, I really didn't have any goals.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then I told her 2 weeks before I graduated, I go, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. And she looks at me and she's like, honey, shit just got real. Can I say that?
Oh, wow.
Yes, you can.
No,
So you're fine.
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
she's like, so what are you going to do? And I looked at her and I remember like I started getting tears in my eyes and I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm here.
Do you know who the father is?
I definitely knew who the father was.
No, I'm saying that she probably, did she ask you that question?
No.
Where's
She probably
the
thought it was, like,
envelope?
immaculate conception, because that's like how pure she was.
Oh
but
my
when I
God,
heard those
that's
words
funny.
come from her, and I was like, oh man, like I need to figure shit out. And so then
At least you
I was
figured
like, what am I gonna do?
your
so,
stuff
so
out.
she started telling me, oh, you can go to community college. Da, 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 da. So that's what I did. And long story short, because I could probably go on forever, I ended up going to college. The only class, because I didn't plan on going, so I didn't register. So I had to go crash courses. And I remember being interested in law enforcement because I had to do community service. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do correctional law, right? Because that was basically the only thing that was available that I wanted to learn about law.
And you were tough, so,
And yeah,
you know,
so-
kind of suit her.
kind of, yeah. I grew up
It's
with
the streets.
parolees.
There you go. Hey, what better person than someone who knows the streets, right?
True.
So it gets better. So I end up taking correctional law class. And then I decided, because my instructor was like a recruiter. He's like, you know, working for the state of California is like the best kept secret in the state. You get benefits, retirement is good. You know, the salary is good. You start off making whatever it was back then. I don't remember. And I was like, sign me up. I'll do it, you know, and he's like, but you got to be at least 21, and I was only 18.
Oh, wow.
I was like, all right. So then I found out that correctional law class was actually part of a program for correctional science, right? One of the classes for correctional science. So I ended up taking, I don't know, like 2.5, 3 years I got my AS degree. So community college, I spent like 2.5 years, almost 3 years in community college. And then by the time I graduated, I was 21.
Perfect
Like
timing.
3 months later, I
with
went
the
to
baby.
the academy for the Department of Corrections, and I became a correctional officer. Because
That's
I was
pretty
like, I got to
awesome.
support my baby.
Hey, but you did it.
You
Yeah.
did
But
it.
you did it.
I
You
did.
did
Tough.
it.
And I didn't know how I was going to do it. Like, I wasn't like, I never sat there and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Except for that time when I was pregnant, I was just like, okay, this is it. I'm going to become a correctional officer. I'm going to take all these classes. I'm going to work. Because I didn't get my license until I was 19. I was taking the bus everywhere with my kid in the stroller.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like, okay, whatever I got to do, I got to make it happen. I'm not going to depend on nobody to do it for me. And so that's what I did.
Your story is so
I
amazing because
know.
it, seriously, like she's telling my story.
You should write
Because
a
I was
book.
I was on the
I need
same
a
boat.
ghostwriter.
You know, I'm serious. Your story is just a little bit different than mine. And I think the only difference was that, you know, I had parents that were really always pushing us to get an education, because my dad has a degree,
Yeah.
you know, where my mother doesn't. And I also had a brother who was addicted to drugs. And till this day, you know, unfortunately, my brother is living a pretty sad life. And to me, you know, that's something that I felt a lot of shame for, and I felt it felt very heavy on me.
Not just you, but the whole family.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
the whole because I saw how my parents were so focused on him,
Right.
and still till this day, you know, they don't realize that too much, it actually keeps them where they're at.
Oh,
Yeah.
enablers.
You
They
know,
become
yes,
enablers.
yes.
Absolutely. 100%.
And it's really sad because, you know, I don't even know who my brother is today.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
so
even know where he's
sad.
at.
How crazy
You
is
know,
that?
yeah.
I feel the same way about my
Yeah.
brother.
So sad.
You know, I also had a child when when I was young. I had a daughter that was actually very premature, only at 5 months. My daughter only weighed like a pound and something, and I had to learn to be a mom. But I lived at home. I lived at home with my parents, and I had to also get a job and go to school and do something with my life. But at that time, when we're young, I don't think we think about the consequences of our actions.
No.
So we have all this energy, and so we just do what we have to do.
I think
What
that's
we
a
have
mom
to do.
mentality
Yeah.
too. Once
Yeah.
like, you become a mom, it's like a switch.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
you're like,
you
don't
don't
have any
prepare to
option.
be a parent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It just
exactly.
happens.
Yeah, and all my friends were having babies, so we're all like in our, what kind of stroller did you get? And so, and then I got a job
What
at
kind of
Toys
clique
R
were
Us.
you in, Monica?
Yeah, I got a job at Toys R Us, so my daughter was kind of spoiled, but I faced a lot of challenges. I had to learn to be, to be a responsible parent.
Yeah.
But I was also, my parents always wanted to give us everything, and I kind of wish that they didn't, because I don't think I would have stayed home for 4 years.
Yeah, my parents were totally the opposite. My dad, it's funny because my dad, the first car that I got when I turned 19, I was like, okay, I need a car. Well, my dad's car had just gotten broken into and they stole
my
it. And it was a 89 Toyota Camry, right? And so he's like, oh, I just bought it back from the salvage yard. You can have it. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, for $2,100. I was like, what?
Oh,
I was
shoot.
like,
The
"You just
window's
got-
broken,
You just
it's
got
not
paid
even
out.
money."
No. It was actually,
He
it was
wanted to
good.
collect his money.
Yeah. Okay. So he bought it back from the salvage yard, which was like 200 something bucks, but he got paid out from the insurance. And I'm like, how are you gonna get all your money that you paid for the car and you're gonna
And
tax
still
me
sell it
for
to you?
$2,100? But honestly, that was the
businessman.
best thing that he could have ever done, because it taught me responsibility. Every month I had to pay him $150, no matter where I was working at, no matter how much I was bringing in. I had to pay him $150.
Well, I had to pay rent too, so
So
I
did
didn't
I.
like that,
Yeah.
because I was like, why do I have to pay rent? I work at Toys R Us and I'm going to school.
That's why.
Hello, But no, that's so interesting,
That's
because
so
we kind of, of course, I'm a lot older, but different
Not a
era.
lot.
But I think a lot of my friends can
even
share
tell.
this story, the same story that we have.
Yeah.
But I know I've known since I was this young that I wanted to be an attorney when I grew up, and then all of a sudden it flipped. I wanted to be an officer. I wanted to be a cop. And
remember
I
you
was
saying that.
I was gonna do that when I was 34 years old.
34?
34 years old. I went through the whole process, and I was gonna do it. And they did tell me, you have to work the jails. And I was like,
I think you
But I
only
was-
see the other side
Yeah.
where you're like patrolling.
But I was still going to do it. I was very interested. And, one thing led to another. And, I'm here today.
Yeah.
But, we're sharing our stories. And it's so
That's
cool
so
because
awesome.
I love hearing that we have so much in common.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
It was meant
You know?
for us to
Yeah.
to work
Connect.
together.
Yeah.
And now I see, how do you say this? Like, I don't just see us being friends. Like, I see us actually doing things together.
partners.
And partnering together. Because I
Yeah.
told you, like, there's always this rivalry amongst like CEOs and
Yes.
executive directors. It's like, oh, you did that, oh, I could do it better, or you can't do this because I already did. It's like high school stuff, And for me, I think, like, why not work smarter than harder, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's collaborate.
exactly.
Let's work
Exactly.
together. Like,
And that's
we all have the
exactly-
same mission: supporting businesses, right?
Yeah.
Economic development and supporting businesses. So if you have resources that I don't, and vice versa, let's do it together. Let's share it.
Yep.
That's what it's all
We can all
about.
play in the same sandbox.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm using a
exactly.
lot of cliches because that's really all that I know.
No, and that is so true.
so relatable,
She was
right?
such an open
is.
book. She was just like she's being an open book, and she's helping me be an open book, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that people don't know about me.
Yeah.
Because I was, I think a lot of people came in through my door and they're like, oh my God, you're so easygoing. But for some reason, I was so afraid to talk to you, because again, they think that you're,
Like
you
when
know,
you have
you're
that
just-
title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the
Yeah.
title.
You feel that entitlement. And
Exactly.
We don't.
Yeah,
At
no,
all.
we definitely don't. I know when I finally got to meet Monique, she invited me to come to a multi-chamber event, and it was so fun. I ended up staying like till the end,
very end.
because
Yeah.
there were so many people that I knew.
Yeah.
Was it the one that we went together?
Yeah, you left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you did go?
Yeah, she came. She came with another advisory.
Advisory, yeah.
And but I actually had a lot of fun because I reconnected with people that I knew
Yeah.
knew
Right.
that were there, and they were
crazy.
having they were having fun. I ended up leaving towards towards the end. I got to meet
Yeah.
your mom,
Yeah.
and I just fell in love with her.
Was she there at the very beginning?
Yeah, she was
or-
in the front.
She was
checking in. So she looks like
helping.
me.
Oh, she was in like the table.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
front.
yeah, that was her.
I think she was the one that gave us the pen to like
Yeah.
write our names.
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
raffle.
That was her.
So she's super sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Monique was like, okay, how can I help you? What do you need to know? And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, I had the email all messed up, so I don't know, she didn't get my communications, but all of a sudden she started sending me stuff, and then we started sharing,
Ideas.
different things.
Yeah.
And, we went out to lunch to this really cute restaurant. The food was just so delicious. And
Pomona?
we kept, yes,
In
and we
Pomona.
kept talking. And then she came to one of our events, that we had, and we just had so much fun. And I think more people should be doing these things. It really helped me like come out of my shell because I didn't feel alone at a time where, COVID happened.
Yeah.
Everybody's at home. We don't know how to help businesses because you're afraid that,
Yeah,
you're
of
going to get,
course, that
you're
fear.
going to get infected or whatever.
yeah.
I was being
Being
so
very
cautious,
cautious. Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
it actually damaged part of who I am because
Yeah.
I felt like I was alone, that I was
remember
having
you
these
saying that
feelings.
to
Yeah,
me.
and
When we
remember?
went to go have lunch, she's just like, I feel so stuck.
Yeah.
She goes, I look at you and you just have so much energy and you're doing so much
Yeah.
great things. She's like, and I want to be like how you are.
You are,
And I says, no, I go, this is not what it appears to be. I says, during COVID, trust me, I struggled. I got COVID. I got COVID in
Oh,
June
no.
of 2020, and I was sick. And I honestly thought that I was gonna die.
Oh, no.
I
Oh, my
was. I remember I had my feet in my pool. It was in the summertime, and I had my hands in my head, or my head in my hands, and I was just like, God, if it's your will, take me now. I says, because I can't do this. I had pneumonia, and I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Oh my god.
And like to me, because before I was a workaholic, work, and when I got sick, like everybody was like, like where's Monique? Like we don't hear from her. We don't know where she's at, and I just. Nothing mattered except for like trying to breathe. That was it.
Yourself.
Yeah. And then so as I started to go back to work, and I was just like, do I even want to still do this?
Yeah.
Like,
My God.
I
It's
was
crazy
you
how
know?
COVID did that to
Yeah.
almost everybody.
And I consider myself to have a strong spirit, and I just looked at things different, and I was just like, things aren't the way that it was before.
Because
They're-
we were
and
so
they're never
busy.
gonna be.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Because
like,
we were so
I was
busy.
not used to being home. Like, and everybody was home, and everybody was getting on my nerves, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I didn't sign up for my job to be at home behind a desk. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Not only that, I kid you not, the month in March when everything shut down, my assistant gave me her 2 weeks.
Oh my
so I
gosh.
went all through COVID without an assistant. And as things started to open up towards the end, I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, I had to figure everything out. The operations, all the different systems.
Yeah, it's like you view
And-
things different.
Yeah,
you know?
and then as things started to again open up and businesses like started calling, hey, we're gonna have a grand opening or we're gonna have a grand
Yeah.
opening, I was just like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because I was used to having somebody.
a
I
staff,
always say
yeah.
that I can't do things on my own. I'm
Yeah.
not that type of person where I got to have the glory. I got to do it my way and that's it. No, I want. How do you feel? What do you want to
Yeah.
do? That's the type of person. I'm a collaborator. That's it.
Well, I
you know?
definitely did things alone for
Yeah.
sure. But, I did reach out. Katrina was working for
Yeah.
me at that time.
Yeah.
And no,
I kinda
it
had
was.
to give my 2 weeks. To I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
she did. She had to find ways to make,
Yeah,
a living.
yeah,
So I didn't
Yeah.
blame her. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a gift to have her and to have, an advisory committee.
Yeah.
But at that time, everybody was on the same boat,
Yeah.
but nobody was talking about anything. Nobody was saying anything about how they were feeling, how, what they
Yeah.
were going through. All
Yeah.
I would get is just phone calls that this person passed away, this person
Yeah.
passed
Oh,
away.
wow.
That
So
was
at
a
first I was
tough-
grieving. After that, I didn't know how to grieve anymore. It became something that I've never felt in my life. I didn't know, how to feel. I had gone through a surgery before that, and it was so depressing. But one thing that I did do, because I'm pretty brave, so I decided, I need to better myself.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I did reach out to my, to my insurance, see what kind of, mental health programs
Yeah.
they had, and I went for it, and it really, really helped me. They said, you know what? You need to go
Work
visit
through.
people. You need to go, you need to start talking about this.
Yeah.
It's normal. I have, patients that are, professors, they're top executives from different companies.
And
You're
they're
not
going through
alone.
the same
Everybody's life
thing.
just
Yeah.
stopped, and it's like, how do you not do what you are used to doing every single day?
Exactly.
It's like we're used to going 100 miles and running, and all of a sudden we're at a complete dead stop.
Yeah.
What do we do? What do we do?
So
with
how did
ourselves,
you
our
how did
spirit?
you go from, obviously it was also tough for you going through like the COVID and then being at home. So how did you like kind of recover from it, or what did you do, like what Monica said?
So what I did was I have a core group of ambassadors. And so what we decided to do, because we used to meet every last Friday of the month for, we called it Coffee Connections. So what we decided to do was meet every Friday. So we called it Virtual Coffee Connections. Pull up your chair, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk.
Cool.
At first it was like, actually the whole time during COVID, it was more like a group therapy session. It wasn't, what are you doing? What are you selling? What services do you provide? It was, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How do you feel? What's going on within your organization? What's going on in your personal life? How are you adapting? How are you adjusting to, being on Zoom? Because again, we were all
Oh God,
on
I hate
way.
Zoom.
Well,
I
actually,
still
it was
hate it.
go to meeting. But yeah, I mean that's how I feel like our core group of the chamber, a lot of us, that's how we survived. And we would get people that were just dropping in for the first time because they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are networking? Like, how are you doing this, right?
Yeah.
But then they come to find out that, it was more like a counseling session. It was more like group therapy where we were coming to the table and we were being transparent. Like, this is the way that I'm feeling. I'm not having a good day. My dad died, my uncle died, my sister
God.
died, my child passed away.
Yeah.
And so we were sharing what was going on in our lives, and by talking about it,
Yeah.
by just working through it and really just talking, right? That is therapy in itself.
I did that
That's
too.
therapy.
Do you remember when I
Yeah.
met and I shared something, very personal with everybody? But before I shared anything, I wanted to know how everybody was doing, and it was so nice to get an email from one of my advisors that actually says, I've never shared anything about my personal life ever, and she knew me for years, and she knew everybody, for years, and she got to share something about, her personal, something very personal to her, and then, and I was struggling because I had a friend who actually committed suicide, and I was really struggling with that, and I didn't know like how to handle that, and I just wanted to share, not because I wanted people to hug me, but it's just a real struggle that I still to this day I can't process that. It's really, really tough for me to do that, but I'm working through it. I'm working through it, and I think every day, we wake up and we should just count our blessings because
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
here. Our loved ones are still here. It's a blessing. So anything that we did that showed other people that we're real and we bleed the same color of blood, you know what? It meant so much, and it went a long way.
Absolutely.
And even with you, I was so blessed to like know somebody that, that could be so open.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, I had tried meeting with other people, and they were just like, I don't know.
guys share the
There was
same
some
energies.
silence.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit, right?
Yeah. And there was silence, and I didn't know what to say because they were not welcoming.
Yeah.
So your personality, the first thing you have to do always is just, big smile, and I'm just
But
just
be
welcome
sincere
people.
about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
be
'Cause
real.
People see right through that, and that's one thing
Exactly.
that I've come to find out, being in my position, is people say, I feel like you're very genuine, and it comes across in your delivery, and the way that you speak, and the way that you talk, and the way that you greet people.
Yeah.
And so I've learned to take that as a huge compliment, and not take it for granted.
Yeah,
Definitely. And
not.
so I've always told myself, like, I'm just going to be my authentic self. I was actually going to school. I'm halfway through my MFT, marriage and family therapy program.
Awesome. That's what my daughter does.
And so I remember I was taking my classes, and it was right before I got this position. And I was like, I told myself, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to have somebody else's life in the palm of my hands. I don't want that liability. Like, if say, for example, you come to me and you're having marital issues, I'm gonna say, girl, leave him. Don't be stupid. you know, and I can't do that. Like as a counselor, you can't, you know, you can't project or you can't tell your personal feelings to a client. And so I didn't want that responsibility. I was like, okay, this isn't for me. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about relationships. And what we do, it's about relationship building.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Definitely,
It's
definitely.
it's about respecting one another and working with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody's lying if they say that, oh, I can do it all by myself.
Yeah,
'Cause
or
No,
everything's
you
fine. I'm doing
can't.
okay. I mean, you have to be careful what you share with
Of
certain
course.
people.
Of course.
Because, you know, you don't want to just like, you know, just dump everything on everybody that walks in through the door. But at the same
course.
time, you know, you kind of read people. You kind of know where they're at, and you listen to them first, because I think it's always about them, the client first,
Yeah.
you know, before us.
Right.
So I've always, you know, been very, you know, conscious about that. You know, I've always wanted to hear what other people have to say before I share anything about, you know, about myself.
Yourself, yeah.
And it's a very interesting field that we're in, but it's also, you know, very
challenging.
very challenging.
bet.
But unless you are who you are, you will attract the right people.
Right. That
You know?
True.
it's funny that you say that
True.
because I believe, like, I have people that come through my doors and they're like, well, why should I join your chamber? And
I hate that question.
I says, let me tell you something. I says, this chamber isn't for everybody. Believe it or not. It's not for everybody. And then I invite them to come to our meetings. I invite them to come to our events. You know, why don't you get a feel for it? See how the vibe is, you know, the other people, the other members, see how they interact with one another. And if you feel like it's a good fit, then come on through, you know? Or I get to really know them, like you said. You know, when I have members that come in and it's the first time joining a chamber, they're like, well, what do I do? What do I say?
Yeah.
And I said, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Just listen.
I hate one of the things that I hate the most, and I think this has been something since I worked for the West Covina Chamber of Commerce. People are, so what are you gonna do for me?
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
being
I
out
build
there
a
helping
response
her.
for that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
build a response for that
Yeah.
because it's not my responsibility. It's your
What are you gonna do for
responsibility.
yourself?
Yeah,
How are you going to
exactly.
Here's the
represent?
tools.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
the tools right in front of you. It's what you're going to do with those tools.
I think that
That's it.
question meant, how many referrals are you going to give me? You know?
Even if
Like,
you,
how many
even if
businesses
you
will I
put,
get?
Yeah.
Even if you put, you know, referrals in somebody's lap, doesn't mean that they're going to close it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
who you click with. It's
Exactly.
who you
Yeah,
click with.
It's building
You
that
know?
relationship.
Yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's all about relationships. I
Yeah.
think this industry is all
Oh,
about
absolutely.
relationships.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about, you know, the referrals will come with time, but you
Right.
gotta be
Obviously,
patient.
Yes.
yeah.
So people, it's just sometimes, you know, they're not patient. They just want
No.
everything, you know, all of
Again,
a
like,
sudden.
people are not patient. They just want instant success.
And you know what's funny is I can call it like the new members that come in and there are certain industries. I'm not going to say any names, but like life insurance people, right? Like they'll come in and they'll ask me about the chamber. What do you guys do? How many events do you have? By the way, who are you? You know, do you have life insurance?
Oh, my
Are you
gosh.
prepared? Are you? Is your family prepared?
Right? They want to sell you. They want you to be their first
They'll
client.
ask personal
Yeah.
questions like, do you
Yeah.
have any children? Do you own a home? Well, how are you going to protect those assets?
Yeah.
Like, there's the bill.
Do you have a 401k?
Here's your annual
Yeah.
membership fee.
Yeah.
Because no.
And that's what I said. That's what I
Seriously.
said when we first
Yeah.
introduced what we were doing. I said, "Don't come to the show to sell me anything, because I'm not gonna buy anything from you. This is informational. This is for
Except you
you."
bought some.
I did not buy anything. I did. What did I buy?
Jewelry from me.
But that was before.
I know.
That was before. That was
You're
before.
the exception to the rule.
Yeah. Plus, you used to work with me, so yeah.
It's a co-host.
But yeah, no, definitely. Or there's something one day, and then, you know,
Yeah.
3 months later they're doing something else, and they're
Yeah.
still trying to push it on you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
Yeah.
sad because, you know, I think we should actually do a networking one-on-one or something, or I don't know what you guys call those, 365 maybe now, you know, so that people know how to really network.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
like how to come up with your elevator speech, right?
Yeah,
or like
something.
How,
Like-
like the
Yeah.
proper etiquette when you go to a networking
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Not just stand there or go person to person and hand out your
yeah.
card like, okay, bye.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
e-
yeah. That would be
exactly.
a good one. Yeah, and then we could do like the do nots.
Yeah,
right?
That would be good because
Yeah,
that's
the
a
act out the do
Yeah.
nots. Do not do
Yes.
this or do not. Do
Yeah,
that.
I think that would be really
like
fun
that.
because we
So
can
do I
like
get to come
donuts
back?
for do
Yes,
nots.
yes,
We should have
absolutely.
donuts. Donut for do nots.
Oh, then I'm trying to lose weight.
Okay.
I do a lot of do nots.
I can't
I do a lot of do
eat
nots.
wheat, but is there something that you want to tell people, you know, as far as like people probably want to be a CEO or director? Is there something that you want to give them an advice or two, you know, like to kind of motivate? Obviously, a lot of people want to be in that level.
Especially right now that a lot of people are not working. Maybe they're thinking about,
Yeah.
you know, starting a business. Maybe they want to
Yeah.
apply for, you know, for all those executive jobs on LinkedIn because there's just a gazillion of them.
There's
Yeah, there's
so
a lot. There's a lot.
many.
Yes,
It's
and everything is
crazy.
executive director for this, executive director for that,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
pretty cool. So, you know, what would you say to somebody
Yeah.
that wants to maybe take a chance and, you know, apply?
I would say manifest it. Like, manifest it. And if you honestly, truly believe, well, actually, read the job description, right? First of all. And if you're like, yes, absolutely, yes, I can do this 100%. And even if you're like, just tell yourself, yeah, I can figure it out. You know, just manifest it. Do your homework as well. Like, what else does the job entail, right? Or look at people such as us. If somebody's going for an executive director or president CEO position, what are other people doing? How are they doing it? Because
Yeah.
that's what I did. And I didn't compare myself to anybody. I was just like, okay, let me get some ideas here. What
Yeah.
would that job look like, right? And so I put myself in the position before I even got it. And then I told myself, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And I didn't worry about it. I don't want to say I didn't follow up because I did, but I was just like,
If it's
It
meant
was
to
just
be, it's meant to
natural.
be,
It was
yeah.
just,
in
it
your
was
hands,
just,
you know?
it was just natural. I think it was
Yeah.
just, you know, something very natural. I had to learn to be an executive director.
Oh, I'm still
you
learning.
know, yeah.
3
And-
years into it, and I'm still learning.
Exactly.
So
And you never
it
stop
never
learning.
ends.
You
Yeah,
never stop learning.
absolutely.
But I definitely don't copy anybody because I just can't. It's too much for me to think, oh my God, I have to be like her
Right.
or I have to
And
be
it's
like this person.
exhausting to be
It's very
somebody you're
exhausting.
not,
Yes.
you know?
Very
So-
exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, so I just, you know, I still figure things out. I just try to be, you know, honest. I try to be, you know, just follow what I've learned through, you know, all the years of experience, and just share that with the people that walk in through our door or the people that I talk to on the phone, and learn from other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely learn from
Absolutely.
other people. I think you guys have brought out like this new Monica, new personality.
I don't think I know we have.
I think up until 2 years ago, there's no way. I mean, whenever they told me I had to speak at an event, I swear, I'm like, give me some tequila, give me some
It's true.
some kind of what is it, Xanax or something or
Something to
whatever,
calm your nerves.
because I was like shaking. So I always took a step back and let other people, you know, do it. You know, so this is really helpful for me. This is very refreshing to me. I think, you know, you're going to learn a lot, you know, through a lot of
absolutely.
our guests. I mean, Katrina is obviously a very smart, you know, young lady. But again, I would say that again, young lady. So I think, you know, through all of our conversations that we've had, I hope that she took something back with her because
Absolutely.
I always had this, you know, heart-to-heart
Absolutely.
conversations with her, and it was really nice because she actually listened.
Yeah.
She actually listened,
I took it
and
in,
yeah,
yeah.
and I will listen to you anytime you want to give me some advice. I welcome it because it helps me.
Yeah.
Because we're all healing,
Constructive
you know.
criticism, right?
Yes.
I believe that
Someone
builds
said
character.
it's not constructive criticism, it's corrective criticism.
Who did you hear that from, by the way?
JR. I'm just kidding, JR.
Of course, he would try to put a twist on it.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Whatever you call it, most definitely. I think that in order for us to grow and to learn, like, we need to understand like where our downfalls are at.
Yes.
Yes.
We need to understand where we fall short, and
Yes.
and most importantly, like, how can we improve?
Yes.
Like, I always tell my kids, okay, it happened. Now what? What are you
Yes.
gonna do? Get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, figure it out. And so,
Well, they're growing pains for sure for them.
sure.
You know, as
And for
parents,
us.
yeah, as parents, we don't want to see them, you know, we don't want to see them fall. We always, you know, since they were
Yeah.
little, we always wanted to put that little
Yeah.
Band-Aid on them. But we got to let them grow. You got to let them
Yeah.
bleed at some point,
Yeah.
you know, because that's part of, you know, that's part of who they're going to become. They're going to be strong. They're going to be able to face anything that they go through in life because we're not always going to be there to like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, should they need a hug? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hug
Right,
them,
right.
you know, love them, but show them, different kind of
Tough
love,
love,
you know?
so
Yeah.
tough love.
Yeah. No, I don't give my kids
that
tough love.
parent.
I
No,
still
I'm
like
totally
it when
that
they call me
parent.
mommy.
Oh, no.
You know? Yeah, I do. I like it when they call
As
me
you can
mommy.
tell the way I tell them, like, get over it. Come
Get
on.
over it.
I don't
Crying. But did you die?
Did you die though?
No,
It
my-
almost doesn't count. You did it.
But if you have, a young daughter, who's so scandalous or whatever, but at the same time, she's so strong and
Yeah.
she's a leader in everything that she does, that just makes you proud. And then I
Yeah,
have my other daughter who
absolutely.
has, 4 kids, who is just like, I look at her and I wish I could take some of her stress away, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And I'm
You
just so
gotta
proud
let
of,
her,
I'm
yeah.
so proud of all of them, because they really, have become, the young adults that I always,
Look at their mom, hello.
envision. So,
Yeah.
it's always so nice when people say the apple doesn't fall
Fall
far from the tree.
Oh, you
Yes,
got it.
I got it right.
You must have rehearsed that before this.
I actually have it written
show.
down. I do not. I do not. So in closing, what's something that you look forward to, in your industry and, in helping, new members? Because I know we talked about our membership, how it had kind of, fallen,
Dipped,
so what's something that, that you're looking forward to, or that you're implementing with, what you're doing?
So right now we're focusing on, we call it, we're in recovery mode, right? Because of this pandemic, obviously businesses have suffered tremendously.
Yes.
And so now it's like, okay, we're in recovery.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what resources are out there. And so that's what we're doing, is we're capitalizing off of the resources that the federal government, state, local, like all of the resources that are out there. We're bringing it to the table and we're saying, okay, this is what's available. But not only that, this is how you do it. And so that's why when I was telling you that I'm so busy right now because we're involved in different committees, that's how we're able to reach the businesses and really come up with a well thought out plan. And we're also collaborating with the city. And so really, coming up with a well thought out plan on how we're going to support the businesses. What are we going to do to ensure that they have sustainability? Because God forbid this is going to happen, if this were to happen again, I don't know that a lot of businesses would survive. I don't even think that, a lot of the chambers would survive.
Yeah, because I have heard that, some chambers are actually
doors.
closing.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad.
Because it's tough.
Yeah.
They're considered nonprofits.
Yeah.
I'm not a chamber. We're a business association. We're a 501c3, and so we work a little bit different than you guys would. We don't really collaborate in those areas with city, but we have our own resources, on our website for our pages, and anybody who walks in through that door, I try to offer them as much as I can, but I see in the conversations that I have with a lot of our members, I see the pain behind that, and
Absolutely.
have you taken advantage of, of this, of that, or whatever. It becomes too much too. I noticed that the more you tell them, it becomes too much.
Yeah, they get overwhelmed.
Yes.
I had a
Yes.
couple come in. They were an Indian couple, and they have a store, but they want to open up a restaurant. Like right before COVID hit, they had just purchased all the equipment.
Oh my
Well, they don't have the funds
gosh.
right now to finish building their kitchen. And so, like the lady, she's like in her late 60s. She was in tears, and she's just like, we might just have to sell the business. We've had this business for over 30-something years. She's like,
so
because
sad.
we don't know how to move forward. And so somebody, I don't know, somebody might have came in to eat, and they're like, go see the chamber. Go talk to the chamber. Monique, might have something for you there. And so in talking with them, I started telling them about different resources and grant funding opportunities that were available, and their mouths dropped. They're like, no way. Like, people will actually give us money, or the government will actually give us money.
Yeah, you would
And
think
it's
that they
like,
would know,
yeah.
right?
But that's the thing,
our
a
job.
lot.
That's our job, is to educate the
Exactly.
business community on the resources that are available.
Exactly.
And to go back to what what we're doing now as a chamber, that's what we're doing, is we're really focusing on education, educating the businesses, letting them know, what is out there, what they qualify for, but more importantly, how they go about obtaining those resources.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. When I came to her office, she actually had this side of her office full of boxes with masks. Have you distributed all those?
Yes.
Yeah?
We went through 60,000.
Oh
We
my
got 60,000
gosh.
masks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
so
We're in
nice.
with PPE Unite, and we're done.
Yeah.
we have our last boxes that we're going to keep just in case a business comes and they don't have any, but
I don't have any.
It was
I think I have a
crazy.
few in my purse.
yeah, you're in
like,
the
"In
county,
my
so you can get some.
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
Costco. I got mine at
Ours are
Costco.
cute too. They're like a turquoise color.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Is that your guys' like theme color or just
No,
this
that's
is
just what they sent us. Yeah, that's just what they
that's so
sent us. So I was like,
awesome.
okay, cool. These are actually cute.
That's awesome. Well, Monique, it's been
yeah.
a pleasure having you on our
Yes.
show. This
Thank
is
you so
our
much for
second
Yes,
segment.
second.
I
It
know
goes
we
by
went
so fast when
over.
we're way
Yes.
past the
And there's so
time.
much more that we could talk about and that we could share. And you know what? You have to promise us that you're going to come back.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Please.
yeah, because you're
I think
you're
we just scratched the surface.
yes,
I
yes.
know, right?
I think
There's
yeah.
so much more that's on the
Yeah,
tip
we
of my
still have to go
tongue.
into all the ingredients, you know, and actually bake a cake and wait for it, you know.
No, I want it now.
Yeah,
I it wrong.
yeah, we're hungry. So with that said, you know, thank you so
you so
much.
much.
You've been an inspiration to us, and hopefully, you know, an inspiration
You as
to,
well.
yeah, an inspiration to, you know, to somebody who's watching. You know, I think, you know, hopefully your chamber will be, you know, some of your board members will watch this and say, wow, I'm so proud of her, you know, because a lot of times they don't really know you,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and then when they get to see you and that you're expanding your wings and West Covina, you know, that's kind of nice,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes,
So
for
we
sure.
went to go see the one gentleman from that restaurant that you took us to, and oh my God, his food is still
delicious, right?
amazing. He's in Pomona, and you know,
Dana's Gourmet Cafe. Gotta give
Yeah,
them a shout out
yeah.
because the
Is
food.
that the
It's the only
food?
5-star
Yeah.
restaurant in the area from Yelp. And
San Gabriel.
Well, actually, I want to say that, like Pasadena's closest that has a 5-star on Yelp, and he has over 60-something reviews.
and the food is amazing, and the food is amazing. And I can talk about this business because guess what? We're the greater West Covina.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
we are
right.
not just, you know,
Emphasize that.
yeah, yes, greater. So any restaurant I go to, I'm entitled.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's about helping businesses, right? So that's the
For sure.
most important thing.
For sure.
Yes.
Like, it's
Absolutely.
not-
Yes.
Yeah.
So we look forward to having you
Yes,
again.
look forward to coming back. Thank
Yeah,
you, ladies.
yeah. So
Or
thank you,
any
Katrina.
events.
Anything you want to
Yeah.
say? I know Katrina's going to be doing some giveaways, so look out for
Yes,
that on our Instagram page, Connecting the Dots. And until our next segment, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing all of you and sharing more stories like this on our next
It was
segment.
so
So
much
thank
fun.
you. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.